Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down how the tragic murder of a government employee in a Georgia park became a flashpoint in a fierce national debate over crime, citizenship, and really who gets to be an American. So this all starts with something totally ordinary, a routine walk in a park. But this moment would tragically become the center of a national headline.
But this wasn't just a local tragedy. As we're about to see, it blew up into a massive political debate. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the attack itself, the heart of this whole story, based on what the media was reporting back in April of 2026.
So the victim, her name was Lauren Bullis. She actually worked for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, or DHS. She was just out walking her dog near Atlanta when she was attacked. Tragically, she was shot and stabbed. And it was the head of the DHS himself, Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, who publicly confirmed her identity.
Now, let's look at the investigation. And what's really striking here is just how fast the police made an arrest.
And it turns out, this wasn't some random, isolated attack. The reports suggest the suspect was involved in a whole string of violent incidents in a really short amount of time. You can see on this timeline, a 49-year-old man was shot and critically injured, and another woman was also shot and killed. All of this led to the police arresting a suspect down in Brookhaven on April 13th.
So you're probably wondering, how did they catch him so quickly? Well, police gave credit to this program called Operation Plugged In. And it's actually a pretty interesting idea. It's this community-based approach where local residents and businesses voluntarily share their security camera footage. In this case, that teamwork, that shared video, was the key to catching the suspect.
All right, now let's talk about the suspect. Because the details about who he is, well, that's what really lit the match and turned this local crime into a national political firestorm.
The man police arrested is 26-year-old Olalukitan Aden Abel. His initial charges included aggravated assault and possessing a firearm during a felony. And this right here, this is where the story pivots. Citing the DHS secretary, the report states that the suspect was actually a naturalized U.S. citizen. He was born in the U.K. and had only gotten his citizenship back in 2022. And this is really the core of the controversy. The DHS secretary's post, according to the article, also said that Abel had a pretty significant prior criminal record. I mean, look at this list. We're talking sexual battery, battery against a police officer, assault with a deadly weapon, just a whole slew of charges.
So, you put it all together. A naturalized citizen with a violent past is accused of murdering a federal employee. You can see how this case just exploded, right? It went from a local crime story to a full-blown national political issue seemingly overnight. And the political fallout was, well, instant. The article cites Republican Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri, who went on X and directly tied this murder to immigration policy. He's quoted calling for expanding denaturalization. And he specifically pointed out that the suspect was naturalized during the Biden administration.
And he wasn't alone. Representative Buddy Carter, from right there in Georgia, echoed that sentiment. His argument was that the suspect's criminal history should have been a huge red flag, that he should have been deported, not given citizenship.
So all these reactions are tapping into this much bigger, really complicated debate. It's about crime, yeah, but it's also about citizenship and the whole process of becoming an American. And it specifically throws a spotlight on this idea of denaturalization, which is basically when the government revokes someone's citizenship.
So you can really see how this one case is being pulled in two different directions. On one side, it's a criminal justice issue, right? It's about the alleged crimes and prosecuting an individual. But on the other side, it's being framed as a national security issue, focusing entirely on his immigration status, the whole naturalization process, and those loud calls for policy change we just heard.
So what does all this mean? Ultimately, this case puts the entire naturalization process under a microscope. It forces some tough questions, you know? Like, are we vetting people properly? What does good moral character even mean when you're applying for citizenship? And what are the consequences when that trust is violated in such a violent way?
And that leaves us with this final, really big question. When does a criminal case stop being about just one person's actions and become a symbol for a huge national debate? This story is a powerful example of how a terrible local tragedy can force an entire country to argue about who belongs and what it really means to be a citizen.